Happiness is a rare thing. I'm not talking about smiling or laughing, but being happy. And I say this because the only people who I ever saw genuine smiles of happiness were three kinds of people: parents, farmers, and religious people. They all talked about their stuff like it was the best thing in the world, without even a shred of doubt. A snotty, loud kid, a slightly larger than normal onion, and a belief that you can even see. And he also didn't look like the image we have of success. A bit of applesauce on their hair, dry vomits on their clothes, smelly overalls full of dirt, some old shabby suits with a worn-out book. These were the people that showed me how little I understood about happiness. So I thought, what were the things that they all have in common that builds the concept of genuine happiness? And I saw three things: vulnerability, an impossible amount of work, and a fertile goal. Vulnerability because the parents are putting all this effort into this child that they aren't sure how that child will turn out. The farmer is vulnerable to the weather. A single storm or a changing humidity can wipe out months of work. And the religious person is vulnerable because they are trying to put out a concept which can easily be dismissed. And these conditions make the amount of work harder than it already is. Raising a child is hard. Being under the sun on your knees for hours, it's hard. Trying to make people believe, it's hard. But the third point was the key. All their aims were set on futures that bring more. Like raising kids eventually turns into son-in-law and daughters-in-law, which in turn turn into grandkids. Or farming, you perfect your craft in order to produce better and more foods. Or religion, where you gather more and more people for one single cause. They're all things that are focused on growth, multiplication. But what does this have anything to do with your addiction? It has, because here's the biggest problem with addictions. Addictions are a damn good argument for most things in life. If something doesn't feel good, then just go back to the place you are used to, the place where it always feels good, right? So the story is always you trying to escape this amazing place, right? That's why it's so hard to become addiction-free. And I totally understand you. I smoked for 16 years of my life. But that's where what I talked about before comes into play. Those people had easier choices before all of that. They didn't have to go through all that pain. What they did was to accept the price for their own happiness. And with this, you get the power to transform your story of you trying to constantly escape from your addictions into you chasing something far better than your addiction and leaving it behind for good. You just have to change your relationship with pain. Because if addiction is you trying to run away from everything that's uncomfortable and freeze your life in the moments where you aren't happy, then the way you unfreeze it is by accepting pain into your life. By labeling the different types of pain and accepting the pain that become the bricks that build your dream life. Like the parent, the farmer, and the religious person, you too can have your dream life. But of course, who would welcome pain into their lives? Don't worry, I'm not David Goggins. I have common sense. So here are the 3 tips to help you get used to pain so you don't run back to your addictions, so you become strong enough to chase your happiness. Hi, I hope this video is helping you. If you don't understand something, please comment down below and I will answer. Like and subscribe because it helps me. And if you don't want to spend time watching my videos, go take a look at my ebook. The link is in the description. Now back to the video. First one is the easiest, which is try drinking coffee or chocolate with no sugar. And this helps you cope with the pain because it shows you a whole new world of flavor, if you can get used to it. Seriously, as someone who enjoys food, you are missing out by eating these foods with sugar, because beyond the bitterness, there is more depth to experience. One example is Mexican mole, where they use chocolate in their sauce, and it gives this deeper and more solid taste to it. The flavor stays and changes inside your mouth. It's good. And if you drink coffee without sugar, you will become really picky about your coffee. because you will start to appreciate other things that the sugar covered, like the smell of pure coffee, the taste from the top part and the bottom part of the coffee. Instead of one uniform taste you get with sugar, because you mixed it, you get stages of flavor. And what this small step shows you is that not all things that feel bad lead to bad things. And the second tip is one that I already gave you, which is the 3 qualities that happy people have, which are vulnerability, which is knowing that you are going to fail at some point, and that is part of your path to happiness and not a reason to go back to your addictions. Second one is acceptance, accepting that you are going to have to put work on this and understand that this isn't a hassle, but the best way you can spend your time, which is to devote yourself to your own happiness and not be dazed out in some corner. And the third one is fertile futures. Focus on futures that bring you more than just a good feeling. Focus on the futures that bring you into more people, into more experiences, into a life that is better than your current life in every aspect. Because if the goal is just you lazing around like always, let's face it, you won't be motivated to try. And my biggest tip on how to train yourself to become used to pain is cold showers. I know, it's unthinkable, crazy, horrifying, I'm with you, but it's great for the skin. Especially if you have a lot of pimples and rashes, it calms your skin better than anything, and it also helps you get more lean, because your body tries to maintain the normal temperature when it gets cold suddenly by burning more calories, helping you become fitter faster. And it's great for cravings, anxiety, depression, because when your body gets cold suddenly, it reboots and it goes into basic mode, giving priority to the basic functions, which isn't your cravings or anxiety or depression, leaving you more focused, more rational, opening an opportunity for you to solve these problems. If you have heavy attacks, I definitely recommend this because you train your body to not have those reactions again. But the real benefit of all of this is to your brain. It's called cold shower syndrome, where you retrain your brain reaction to pain, where you teach yourself physically to not jump at every single of pain, and not all pain is bad. And this helps immensely with your anxiety, because if you are willing to accept a small amount of pain, you become able to look at all the possibilities properly, because you are seeing beyond the pain. And you get to see that not all paths are as bad as you thought, helping you avoid depression, because now there are more paths for you to walk on, more ways to get to where you want to be. And life just stops being this prison anymore, hopeless and doomed. You make yourself realize that you can get so much more if you can accept a little bit of pain. That there is something else beyond the big, dark and scary hills. And you also get to know that you have the capacity to climb them. Because if you can take an horrifying cold shower, what more can't you do? Your addiction and pain are connected because pain is manageable. You can control how much pain you feel through experiencing. But when you give in to your addictions, you forget about those experiences, which in turn becomes the reason why you seek more addictions. But pain is part of life, it's unavoidable. Your addiction is the one that lies to you. Pain is what it makes us cherish the important moments. You just have to allow it to teach you. Because if the world had no pain, we wouldn't be here trying to improve. We wouldn't be here trying to hold the few moments we have left with our loved ones. We wouldn't be trying to make this life a nice one. We would just commit the same mistakes again and again and again. Pain is there to wake you up. And if you can give yourself one single thing, I believe it's kind to give yourself the capacity to see beyond all of this. To not be here always hungry, scared, panicking every single moment until the pain comes. To give yourself the capacity to be in control of your life, awake and focusing. Not letting go for one single moment. Because I might not know everything, but I know this for sure. Your life without addictions is one worth watching and experiencing. That I know for sure. I hope this helped. I'll see you next week.